How you guys doing, my people? We don't come again. Paul eBay don't come up now, come tell us, say, as I dey talk am for Nigeria Watch Media all the time, that there's nothing, absolutely nothing is working in the country. But I like also listen to Paul eBay, how he poured out his plight, how he expressed and explained the plight of the people, how he tries to remind Nigerians what we are facing or where we are currently or possibly going to. Listen to what Paul eBay have to say.
Thank you, Charles, for having me.
Let me begin with something you said in your press release today on behalf of Atiku Abubakar. You said that while President Tinubu dines under chandeliers in the land of good governance, which presumably means France, the country he governs is spiraling out of control and into chaos. Is Nigeria spiraling into chaos?
We are living, all of us as citizens are living, Nigeria is happening to us. I mean, the state of insecurity has become endemic. Nothing seems to be working. But the most unfortunate, aspect of it all is that we have a president who has gone AWOL. Governance cannot be conducted on WhatsApp, villa WhatsApp platform, or the internet, or the social media. Governance is conducted with the president having his boots, on the ground. Charles, this president traveled. I'm not aware, citizens, we're not aware that, the commander-in-chief has been ceded to the vice president. There is a limit to what the vice president can do. The Yorubas have a saying. They say, "Àìsí ilé ológìnní, nílé wa dilé èkúté." In the absence of the pussycat, the rat takes over. His absence does two things. One, is going to enable all of these bad characters, to be able to continue to do what they're doing, to attack, to maim, to kill. His presence will give succor. It will give, it will give confidence to Nigerians. It's like your dad being away in a storm. There was a night, my wife and I woke up. It was a serious storm here in Abuja. And all of a sudden we turned right and left. Our children had gathered into our room. And they were safe. The absence of the president, the commander-in-chief, does not give any succor, doesn't give comfort to citizens.
Well, his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, has issued a statement saying the president is in constant communication with key government officials and is overseeing critical national matters and is giving directives to security chiefs to address emerging threats. He didn't mention anything about WhatsApp or social media. That sounds like the ground is well covered.
Which ground?
Well, the ground that the president is oversees, which is
well
the state
covered
of the nation.
If the ground is well covered, Charles, the last couple of days, we've had over 100 deaths arising from attacks in Benue and in Plateau, twice in Plateau State, in Boko's local government, and some other place. And the same thing is, is being replicated elsewhere. So what ground is he talking about? Maybe his portfolio needs to be changed to special advisor on misinformation and propaganda, because that is what it's all about. It matters less that the president has moved from France to the United Kingdom. Probably what may change is the menu. The French will probably have afforded them a different menu from what he probably will, have the benefit of a complete, British breakfast. Charles, this is appalling. The Nigerians are complaining about the absence of the president, and then he takes a flight from Paris to London. What does that change? And you are telling us that grounds are covered. No, sir. The grounds are not covered. We are being weighed down by the enormity, both the security challenges, the economic, challenges. Nigerians are worse off than they were 2 years ago.
I understand the symbolic need for a president to be around at a time of perceived crisis. But I mean, the president could be forgiven, this is what his aides say, for feeling somewhat beleaguered and wanting to take 2 weeks off to get some rest, recharge his batteries. His aides argue that he's been on full trot with the economy, politics, insecurity, and innumerable other issues, and that he deserves to take a fortnight off. But you don't think so?
Charles.
I mean, a fortnight, and when they mean fortnight off, they mean they call it a working visit. So he's not actually lounging at a beach drinking pina coladas. I mean, he's working whilst he's away. That's what they say. But clearly, you don't agree with that.
In 2024, former President Biden was in Delaware. And then he was forced to leave Delaware back to Washington because of a credible threat, Iranian threat against Israel, who are, partners of the US. In 2016, former President Barack Obama cut short his visit to Europe to go visit Texas because of shooting that claimed the lives of 5 policemen. Charles, we've had over 100 killings. And the president is out there reflecting. So you ask yourself, what is the reflection about? To see Nigerians die in their numbers, and he can't come home to empathize with them. I don't know what is going on, except there is more to what he's talking about. Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, in 2019, he was in Egypt on a state visit, and there was energy crisis in South Africa, and he flew back to go and take charge of the situation. And this is the same president that in 2023 did say that he had banned, I think that was in April, it was to take effect April 1 of 2023. Maybe that was an April Fool prank, a joke. The president did say that official trips to be funded by government were banned, effective April 1, 2023. So what is the president reflecting on? In France, and now to the United Kingdom, that he cannot do in Ekpe? There are results there.
Well, if it's a working visit, then potentially he may. No, let me just make the point.
Yes.
He may potentially, and I don't know because I don't speak for the government.
Yes.
But my job is to reflect the other side of the story, as you well know.
Yes.
And he may well be holding meetings in the United Kingdom that are crucial to the governance of this country. I mean, we don't know. They say that you and other opposition leaders, rather than actually trying to find out a bit more about what the president's working visit entails, that you, your principal, Atiku Abubakar, and other opposition leaders are simply picking at every opportunity to gain some political capital, and that you're swimming against a powerful tide. If that is the case, what prospect is there of turning that tide back in your favor ahead of 2027? Because the argument is basically that's what all this is about.
The question I will ask is that what is the nature of the work that the president is doing in France and now the United Kingdom?
Well, I have no idea.
Now, you and I don't know because we have an irresponsible government. It is their duty to communicate to Nigerians. We don't need to go shopping to know what the president is doing. They have a responsibility to communicate to us. And they have not done that. And the reason is simple. They are trying to hide the real intent of why the president is where he is.
So what are they hiding?
I don't know.
So
Because
why would you then assume that they're hiding
No,
something
because
if
they
you
said
don't
he's
know?
working. So you ask yourself, is it the work of meeting with a very junior official of the United States? Is that part of the work?
No, they said he was on a working visit. Working visit simply means that he is actually dealing with matters Nigerian. That means that he's working whilst he's away. I mean, you can be working whilst you're away. Journalists get sent on overseas trips and they go there and they're covering news and they're operating whilst they're in another country. I mean, potentially that could be the case. As I said, I don't speak for them, but I have to reflect the other side of the argument.
By the time this president returns from his visit, Charles, this president will have spent 59 days in just the nation of France. A nation that was built on the back of patriots. If that nation was not good enough, the president would not be going repeatedly to France. The question is, what is there in France? Is it to see France and die? Or to see France and then forget about the Nigerian people whom you have a responsibility to? I mean, what are we talking about? You have an absentee president, and you're trying to justify, that. I mean, does it think that Nigerians are fools? Nigerians are no fools. And it's not just Atiku Abubakar who is complaining about, the absence of the president. Nigerians in their numbers are saying that. I mean, they find this, it's not acceptable to them. They want to feel, like I told you earlier, the presence of the president in the country will give confidence to the people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That would be the case, but obviously the governance involves also international geopolitics.
What we are faced with now in Nigeria is an emergency. If the president could have declared a state of emergency in Rivers State, Nigeria is facing a dire situation, worse than the situation that we had that led to the state of emergency declaration in that state. So, therefore, you expect the president to cut short whatever trip and whatever working visit. Because is he going to, at the end of the work, and come back and you will see the tombstones of Nigerians in their thousands, the same people he is reflecting about, and they have been killed? So who will you be presiding over? Dead men and women? Charles, this is not acceptable. And we must not justify this. And the biggest stakeholders in any party are Nigerians. And Nigerians are clear about the direction that they want to go. They want to end this reckless, irresponsible, incompetent, clueless government. Nigerians want to reclaim their country. And to rebuild it, they have to reclaim it first.
You see, some of us are taking this thing very, very lightly, thinking that, okay, a normal thing for this, whatever that's happening to us right now in Nigeria to be happening. It's not normal. It's not normal. We cannot continue to be praying and praying and praying. Prayer doesn't work anymore in Nigeria. What we need to do is to face the reality, embrace the realism, to see how Nigeria can become a better country, like every other developing country. What do I know? I thought I should bring it to you. Join us every day, 7 p.m. on NWATCH Media, on our live broadcast. Let's continue to talk about the things that affect you and I. Like our videos, share our videos, subscribe to our channel. Take care, and bye for now.